circle button. All right, what's going on YouTube? One Chance Gaming back here with another video. Today we are talking Builder. Builder came out today. My initial thoughts, and I've had some time to process and kind of look at some things. We are going to start with NBA2K's Twitter. Ooh, this is really laggy. So this is going to be kind of a quick little...
Choose your desired badges and tiers.
There we go. Okay. So we've got some MIDI. Okay.
Viewpoints to
oh, hell yeah. Okay. I love when it does that. That's great. No. Shut up. I don't want your voice. But, so we've got, this is the Builder screen. I will be honest, I think this is extremely ugly. I prefer the way we have it set up now. I don't know if we're just doing, not building by badges or anything like that, if this will change. But as of right now, this is the Builder screen. It's an L. I hate it. It's ugly. I'm going to overthink stuff on the screen because I'm not a fan of the screen, right? But yeah, so we get through. This is your categories. They got it zoomed in a little bit. So you can see they're on like a 6:4 with default hands for some reason. I don't know what this build is supposed to be. This build's pretty ass. As per typical 2K fashion when they're showing off the Builder. They don't ever actually put in good builds. They put in this. So we've got this here. Obviously, we've got the different screens for if you guys mess with, the Pro Tune builders. Essentially, you put in position, you put in what you want to be good at, and then it will tell you based on like your best skill, your archetype. Here's your top attributes. Here's your go-to badges. Who the build is modeled after, that sort of thing, right? And I think they said they're going to have a bunch more than what we had to start this year. And they did say that the clone builds will be like all-star players and stuff like that. This is the new screen. As you guys noticed, I know they're going through them pretty quick, but there is a lot more archetype choices, like Fluid 4. I don't remember that being a thing. I wonder if that's just the new like versatile defender or whatever. They say that so they've got all these different build names. I know I keep going back to it. But you guys know if you played the game this year, or if you made builds certain ways to play certain modes, you got the same builder name every time, right? We've gotten the same thing for like years. There's like your versatile enforcers, there's your 3&D wings, there's catch and shoot ace, right? Like all sorts of things that I think are almost identical. So I'm hoping that as we change minimal amount of attributes or maybe an inch height here, weight here, eventually does end up getting some of these names switched. I do like the names they have on here, like Cash Out. I'm assuming it's more of a sharp with like secondary playmaking. But yeah, all of that doesn't matter to me right there, so that wasn't really as much as I'd hoped for. But we've got the new glossary here. So say you are building a player based off of animations, right? So you can say, hey, I'm going to build based off of, I want this animation and this animation, right? Like Kyrie dribble style or whatever. You can type in Kyrie dribble style and it will give you the necessary stats. I believe if there's multiple stats, you get to pick which stat you want. Or obviously if there's multiple to meet the requirements, I think it pulls both up as far as we understand it right now. Next big thing is there is custom takeovers. So it's going to take a while to get there, right? It's not going to be day one. As you have to go through takeovers and you have to do certain challenges with different things to get. I believe they called it takeover tokens. And then those you use to unlock the various takeovers. And then once you get all of those, you then select your 3 attributes and you select what type of takeover you want, right? So for this example, which lethal layup, the fact they're using that, again, our devs don't play the game. But he chose lethal layup as the takeover ability, so that's that middle section where you can, pick which one you want. That'll be the grand badge or whatever you guys want to call it. We had this year, so like your airplane badge, your blur, your lock badge, your steel badge, that sort of stuff. And then over here, you get to pick from a select list, and it'll tell you what everything goes up. So it looks like it varies from this year, because for the most part, all the takeovers went up 7, right? Like all these level 5s or whatever were 7. It seems like maybe they knocked that down a notch. But for this one, they did speed ball, 3-ball, close shot. Again, why these stats are this way on, I'm assuming a guard, who the hell knows? Because who wants 86 speed ball and 83-3 on a guard? But 2K are going to 2K. So that is that, which will be interesting. I am going to scan through this.
And cap breakers in 2K.
Shut up, Tyrese Halliburton. Okay. So, we have courtside report here. If this stupid button will work. Okay. This is the screen I wanted, right? My player builder. So you guys know how you have your badge elevators and all that sort of stuff. There is now this thing called Max 2. So say you have a badge on silver. It will now go from silver to Hoff. If you have a badge on gold, it will go from gold to legend. If you have a badge on bronze, it will go from bronze to gold. Obviously, if you don't have a badge, you can't upgrade it, so it's not in there. But as I understand it, it seems like there is... So there's going to be 2 extra slots here, right? There's going to be, it looks like there's a max +1 slot here for tier 1, tier 2, a max +2 slot here, and an additional max +1 slot, I believe, is what's right here. Judging off the format of the numbers here, I would assume this is extra max +1s. We will get some of these through the season pass. We don't know if it's all 3 of these, if it's just these 2, maybe this is rep reward. Who the hell knows? Still too early to tell. But the good news is you get this little category down here. Now this is a next gen only thing, right? So there is various archetypes is what we'll call them. Essentially they are paths. So you can do finishing, shooting, playmaking, defense, rebound, right? You pick this path. There's 9 challenges. You complete said challenges, you get additional rewards along the way, right? So you get clothes, boosts for that thing. So if you pick shooting, you'll get jump shot boosts. And then you also get max +1s specific to that category. And then you also get a cap breaker, again, specific to that category, or I believe Mike Wang did confirm you can also use those specific ones towards your physicals, right? So what I would do is if I'm looking at a build, think of these are going to change every season, right? So every season you're either going to have to buy 40 from the jump to use these, or it's going to be something you have to grind along the way. So if that is the case, treat these as luxury items, not necessities, if you don't plan on buying the pass every single season, right? Because if you don't plan on buying the pass every single season and you're grinding towards it, it's going to take you some time to get to these. Whereas if you are going to buy your level 40 straight out the gate, just go ahead and lock these in as part of your build, right? Just in your mind when you're making your build, these are going to be there no matter what. This last slot, again, we don't know. This one's going to, I would assume, take a little bit of time, but not a lot of time. The other thing with this slot is it is build specific. So on your first build, you pick shooting for this, right? You then go to make your center and you pick rebounding. You have to do the whole set of quests all over again. If you pick, like if you make a new lock or whatever, you're going to have to do it all over again. So make sure you pick this right away from the jump. It's very important that you pick the right one because it's going to take a minute to get. Next thing we're going to discuss, cap breakers. So cap breakers for 2K25, if you had a cap breaker, it was +1, end of discussion, no questions asked. Now, they are going to make it a weighted system. So you see how 60 perimeter, again, this build is, I don't know what this is. But you can get, if you apply all 5, right, as you get cap breakers, that's 15. So that's now a 75 instead of being a 65 like it would have this year. Now, if you have higher statistics, or I'm assuming something that's more important to a build, it seems like it's weighted, right? So based off of this, I would assume this is a guard, correct? Because you have perimeters, not really much of a boost, even though it's a fairly low number. Interior is pretty expensive. 3-ball, again, does basically nothing, even though it's a 71. So I would assume it's a guard, right? Whereas like your post control goes up $1 billion. You know what I mean? Stuff like that. Same with the ball handle. Ball handle doesn't really move. So I would assume it's a guard. But for like your steal, so say you made this build for whatever reason, I will tell you, don't make this build. This build's terrible. You can go steal here, and so you're up to, you know, mid 60s, almost 70s with your steal just off of this, and how cap breakers worked last year. So if you hit a threshold for a badge based off your cap breakers, you get the badge. So for this one, you would get your bronze intel, and I'm pretty sure you're close to, or if not at, silver intel on this build just off of cap breakers, right? So that will be interesting. Again, my curiosity is it strictly attribute based? Because obviously it's weighted slightly, right? Like 86 and 94, but they're both +1s. 92 and 83, they're both +1s. So is this going to be a height? Is it position locked? Like, because I made this at point guard, even though it's, not great ball handle, it's still really low. But if I make this exact same build at small forward, is this all of a sudden like a +7 or something? You know what I mean? So that's going to be the thing I think that's probably the most interesting is it position based? Is it height based? Is it just strictly, obviously it's not strictly attribute based, right? Because that's 83, that's 81, and that goes up by 3 and 2, and then that's just ones. So depending on if it's just attribute based, if that's what we find out, then you can essentially negate your steal for all your builds once you have your 5 cap breakers and just go get your silver intel by itself, and then max plus to that, you have Hall of Fame intel. Kind of see where I'm getting with this? Because it's, I promise you, it's only going to get worse. We're eventually going to figure that out. So this is a little bit cleaner of a screenshot. So we still have tier 1 badges, still have tier 2 badges. This screen will be the same. So this slot right here rotates every season. This is season only. So for this one, Clutch Gene is later in your park games or end of the 4th quarter overtime for 5s players, right? So I believe they're going to have Clutch Gene, they're going to have Hot Start, they're going to have a couple of different things. So this will rotate season by season. Let's see what else we got here. Obviously, they're going through different badges. You can knock stuff out. And see, it goes up to beautiful, fantastic. That's going to make builds interesting. So Takeover Surge is going to be one of the seasons. So when you're in Takeover, those badges get boosted, right? So that'll be an interesting one to see. Hot Start of the game. Clutch Gene confirmed for season 1. That is the end of the game. So I think builds are going to get pretty interesting. This is the one I showed earlier. Okay, so this is a different build. So let's look at this now, right? So, I don't even know what position to assume. I'm going to assume guard, right? That's just what we're always going to assume for 2K. Guard first, because they don't typically switch builds unless they're trying to prove something else, right? And also 92 perimeter, again, I'm going to assume. So, as we can see, this is 84. This is now 222. Last time it was 81, it was 3222. All of these are only +1s, that makes sense. 92, all +1s, that makes sense. That's already maxed out. And then you've got like 42 block, you can go up. Rebounding goes up pretty high. Strength and vertical both can go up pretty high. So like once you get this maxed out, that's, you're in the 70s at that point. So I believe that gets you immovable if you max that out. Your agility can't really, so it seems like once you hit 80s, right? Once you're in like the low to mid 80s, that's where the cap breaker boost doesn't go into effect as quickly, right? Like for example, you've got 44 free throw. You get 20 right here, right? That's 64, 68, you're in the 70s. 25 driving dunk right here. Obviously for this, you're up to 40, you're up to 51 just off of these two. This one, I mean, you can get, let's see here. What are we at? That's 20, 30, 44. Like, we're in the 70s now, right? Like, we're a posterizer, basically. So, driving the layup, don't ever do that shit, ever. So, I think it's going to be a really tough call, right? Because if the 99 stats are weighted as heavily as they were this year, right? I just went to go remake my lock that I made for the end of the year and make it without cap breakers. It's not possible. I'm nowhere close because I used 10 cap breakers on my perimeter and my steal, right? I knocked so many attributes out of that. I had put stuff into my speed. Like, I had so many other stats that I could mess around with that I don't have right now. So that's going to be a very interesting, I'm not glad. You guys that are in the stream day one when I do go to make a lock I'm going to break my brain. But back to this screenshot. So obviously you see the 92s, don't go up much, that's normal. So it's going to be a question of how heavily weighted is these stats to get, like how expensive is this, versus say I want to make this build dunk all of a sudden, how expensive is this? You know what I mean? Because obviously if it's just cheaper to do the 95 heat or the 97 here and then just do this through cap breakers, or if it's cheaper to do, you know, this up to 70, whatever it is, and then do this through cap breakers, like it's going to depend on the game, right? So obviously there's a lot of stuff we're going to have to see. So there will be several builds on the channel, just disclaimer now, because once eventually we figure this out, then builds will change for me. More than likely I'll just have the lock build day one, because it's really going to depend on how long cap breakers take to get. Also, if there's a cap breaker in the level 40 rewards, because if there's a cap breaker there, it'll help a little bit. It doesn't help a lot though. But I will have to kind of get a little more creative with it. So, like, it's just stuff you're going to kind of have to, you know, play around with your build, figure out your strengths, figure out your weaknesses, figure out what's more expensive, that sort of stuff. So this is something that you will see. This is now the end of the builder, right? So where we normally see are, here's your archetype, here's your comparisons, let's go, right? You now get your shades up here, you get your archetype name, obviously back to the normal, like advance, edit, all that stuff. You now see your go-to badges here. So this is like your top 3 badges. This is your top 3 categories. And then they also have this little like scouting report here where you can see, you know, what 2K views as the strengths of the build. Do you have a good 3-ball? Do you have good defense? Do you have high ball handle? Weaknesses, and then it'll show, you know, this is probably you have like 55 pass hack, like I had on my locks this year. Weaknesses, lack of passing vision because you have 55 pass hack. This one you probably don't have any steal, right? Stuff like that. So I think it's a waste of time. I think it's good for, you know, newer players or casual players that maybe don't understand and really just want to see, okay, what am I best at? What are my top attributes? What could I improve on my next build, or what should I adjust on this build, right? I think this is very casual friendly. As for me, I don't give a shit about this screen. I will be entirely honest. Because all I'm looking at is, what does this say just for the fun of my own, you know, sanity? And then I've already planned out all the animations because I'm planning out badges and animations and everything else. So none of this matters to me, right? Because I'm stubborn. I'm going to do what I want. I don't care what your weaknesses say, 2K. I'm going to do it how I want. Because I'm stubborn, right? So we've got that. I do like it for casuals. I think it's really cool, though. This is the build specialization is what we're calling it, right? So, as you can see, you don't really have to have all that high of anything for this, right? Like, if you guys remember my lock from last year, right? I had 55 pass hack, 77 ball handle. I could technically do this if I wanted to, right? If I wanted to apply an extra cap breaker to my passing on that build. I can also go here, right? So, I mean, honestly, I don't think... It really depends on what this category is. If this category is what I think it is, I'm going to be pissed, by the way. Because I'm assuming this one is you have to get blocks and or steals. Depending on how the gameplay is, that could take a while, right? Because I'm pretty sure it's like 1,000 to get the grand badge done on it or whatever, right? This one I'm assuming is assists. This one I'm assuming is rebounds. Dunks, layups, middies, and threes has already been confirmed. But again, I think they're all pretty reasonable attributes to hit. Keep this in mind when you're making your build. So if you are, say you're, I'm trying to think of a good example. You're a point guard, right? You play fives. You want to make a build that you excel in some of these, right? You want your shooting, you want your playmaking, probably a little bit of finishing so you can go dunk the ball. Just make sure that you get enough defense there so that you can, it's going to take you forever because you're going to have really low attributes. But if you can get steals and blocks, you can unlock your extra cap breaker through this. If not, if you're going to do it, so say for my lock, right? I want the fastest way possible to get me an extra cap breaker. More than likely, I would go rebounding, as dumb as it sounds. Because it is just, I would assume this is just rebounds, right? If that's the case, and you can do it in offline, they said. I can go into my career or whatever offline mode I want and spam my rebounds really quick and get an extra cap breaker. Because so what the cap breaker applies to is this category or your physicals. So if I do rebounding, I can get either rebounding or I can get my physicals. So if I want just a quick way to get a cap breaker for physicals, I'm going into rebounding. Defense, I think, is going to take the longest. This one, I think, is fastest. If you're going to drive to the rim a lot, this one's pretty quick. If you're a guard that's going to shoot a lot, this shouldn't be bad. And then this one, I think, is more for, again, offline, you can spam this one. Or maybe like park or something if you're just going to quickly throw the ball around, right? Because I'm pretty sure that's going to be assists, would be my guess. Without them saying the exact things. So this is what you earn along the way, right? You get skill boosts for this. So finishing skill boost, shooting skill boost, etc., etc. You get apparel and cosmetics. I don't care about that. New archetype names. So depending on when you finish this, you can possibly, if you're a point guard and you get ISO specialist or whatever, you can get this and put 2 in front of your name or whatever. And then you get your cap breakers, like I mentioned, and you get permanent max +1 and max +2 badge perks that we mentioned earlier, right? So that'll be, I think it'll be really helpful because, again, guards, you can go in, get your cap breakers, and get your max +1s for your defensive badges. I think it's really helpful so you don't have to waste max +1s on your normal defensive badges. I think it's going to be cool. Next thing here is takeover. So rebirth. So rebirth is now, instead of just you, so how you did it this year, right? You got to build a 90. Okay, cool. Whenever you go to make your new build, whatever your highest rated overall is, so say you get that build to 97, you can then therefore get your next build to 97, but the highest all your new badges started on was silver, and so you had to throw in badge elevators to get them done, right? Now, at 90 overall, you get that same system, but once you hit 95, you automatically can get your badges set to that level once they're met, right? So say I'm a 98 overall, I have my lockout, right? So I have my legend badges on my defense, I have a couple of gold shooting badges, etc. You can now rebirth the build, make another, say I want to tweak my lock, say I wanted more height or something, right? Now I can remake my lock, and then my defensive badges, once I have my stats maxed to 99, will go to legend right away instead of me having to grind everything and it take an eternity and a half. Next thing we've got here, so what we can boost with custom takeover, right? Back to the custom takeover stuff. Any non-physical, so we can't do speed, acceleration, strength, vertical, which sucks because I had my lock badge planned out perfectly and he done took it away. But so this will have to be like your finishing, your shooting, your playmaking, your defense. So on my lock, if you wanted, like 3-ball, you wanted your dunk, you wanted pass act, you wanted any sort of those things, that's what you'd be able to do. You wouldn't be able to do like your speed and agility because I initially was going to do all the weird stuff for it. So we have so the custom takeovers will have 4 different slots. So if you are a man on many, many builds, you're going to have to rotate through those 4, right? It's not an unlimited slot. So like for me, if I have a lock, a guard, a center, and a back end, that's the only 4 type of takeovers I get, right? I'll label mine by position, obviously, and then you call it good there. But say I make a slasher, I would have to take one of those slots and convert it to the slasher kit that I want. And then this is confirming that we can complete the build specialization in single player or multiplayer mode. So my career, for the my career warriors out there. Cap breakers earned via build specialization must be applied within the attribute category you specialize in or applied to physical attributes. So, like he says here, if you earn shooting cap breaker via the build specialization, you can apply it to 3-ball, midi, free throw, or your physicals. So, that's why I'm saying if you guys want a cap breaker for your physicals specifically, if you can spam it, go rebound. Rebound, I think, is going to be the fastest. If not, if you have a sharp or whatever, just put it in shooting, get your shooting done really quick, and throw it in whatever you want to throw it in, right? That is going to be the fastest way to do it. So, other than that, not a whole hell of a lot as far as like different options here, but I think it's a good start, right? It's a good, depending on how it ends up going, it's decent, right? So this is the animation glossary to look stuff up quickly. This is that screen I was talking about. I don't love it. Another thing I forgot to mention though is, so you're on this, right? 25. Timeout. I just noticed this. Why is the overall starting at 25? Nobody else caught that? I thought we started at 60. Oh, build's gonna be so super expensive. Anyhow, I'm just fucking with y'all. I hope. So on this screen, what I'm trying to show you on the screen is you can build by badges. So instead of just doing, I'm doing raw attributes, end of the line, right? You can pick a badge that you want to upgrade. You select what tier, you click in your right stick, and it will automatically upgrade the stat to get that badge, right? So if you want, you know, in this case, off shifty shooter, you click it in, it'll upgrade it. This is also showing that you guys can see by body type. So if you guys want to know what body type your builds can get, go on this screen. See, I don't hate this screen. It's actually pretty clean. But especially for this, that makes for a clean screenshot right there. I like it. When I'm trying to do build videos and stuff, this will be the screen I probably show you guys, to be honest. This is showing build templates, the scouting report here. Again, pretty generic name, so hopefully that gets updated. Supposedly they're height balancing. We will see, but we are adding in 7-4 centers now. So instead of 7-3s, we now have 7-4s. Woohoo, balanced gameplay. This is the badge perk slot. See, they've got this blocked, so I don't know what it's for. Because see, it's blocked. So I don't know how I get it, to be honest. I'm really curious though. We do get badge accelerators when you complete the drills in the court next to whatever. This is the custom takeover screen again. Again, I don't know why they have these stats. They're terrible. This, same thing we're going over. Cap breakers vary now. This is the rebirth. Yeah. So, that is it for the builder. If you guys have any questions or want to get my thought process as far as builds, stuff like that, obviously we will be streaming day of. I will be hopping between modes, so we will be in Pro-Am, we will be in Rec, we will be in anything and everything. But yeah, that is the YouTube video. I appreciate you guys coming through. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.